Hey there, folks. Colin here with the co-host of the Home Building Hub podcast, Darren Brennan. And this here we're looking at, Darren, is webinar number 2. So what we thought we'd cover for everyone is right back at the start, the basic budgeting and I guess picking your core team, because it's really important you get that right up front. We find that people just start going shopping a bit too early, Darren. Would that be fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And you end up, walking into a display home and falling in love with the house and not even knowing if you can afford it. So you're often looking, you might be looking at a two-story home and actually only have the budget for a single story. So
Hmm.
getting that information right up front is really important.
Yeah, so we thought there's some format to, I guess, how this is laid out, but it can be done, one bit before the other. But I guess what we're trying to say is it's really important, A, that you get a core team, and that will help you with basic budgeting. Okay, so that's a good place to start. So what we have done, and we'll quickly run you through this little basic budgeting sheet. So I'll try and zoom in. Hopefully, you can see that. How's that looking, Darren? Good.
Looks great, mate. Can see that beautifully.
Looking sharp. Okay, so this is really not overcomplicated, but this is a simple sheet that is available in the school community that you can jump in there and open your own copy so you can enter your own numbers in there. So you'll see obviously land price, the house price, which is the build contract only. We popped in a little bit there of in terms of stamp duty, conveyancing and legal fees, other fees to do with land settlement. There's always a little bit there that you get caught out on. Connection costs, that could be up to 3 grand. You're talking about the gas if that's applicable, power, water, etc. And then quite a few of the items that you generally may not have in your building quote, and therefore you would have to pay for yourself later if it's not a turnkey hub quote. Turnkey hub, sorry, a turnkey quote, not turnkey hub. My apologies. So things like fencing, landscaping, blinds, furniture, all that stuff down here you can see. And then one of my favourites there, Dazza, is a hit the fan fund. So
Yeah,
site cleaning, which will show you an image shortly. Site cleaning is a very important one, especially here down in Victoria. I can't speak for other states, but it's definitely one that you need to factor some contingency in for. And then there's room here for you to add some more and go from there. So we've done this here, so it calculates itself for you. Land price, you may not know this stuff yet. House price, land price. So this is something that you can work on as you go through your discussions with your broker and your core team, your home building consultant, etc. But just as a quick little how-to, so Dazza, it might be 400 grand. We'll pop that through here, and yeah, I don't know, 385 for the house. And you'll see down the bottom, it just calculates itself. So all you got to do is put your thing in here and put your number in there, and off you go. And then once you've landed on the cost, just do the same here, and it will then tell you. So we'll say 550 grand. It'll tell you that you're 261k under budget, which is pretty sharp. But if we add another 400 grand to that bit, bang, you're over budget. Okay, so very simple, keeps it nice and easy for you. We thought that'd be a good one to share.
absolutely.
Yeah. Daz, what about core team? So I think one of the most important people that you can have is this person right here.
Yeah, your finance broker's absolutely key. One is they're going to work out how much money you can borrow, and two is they're going to facilitate the application for your loan, take care of all the heavy lifting on that side for you. And again, you're not paying them directly for their service. They don't charge a upfront fee. They get paid by the banks to facilitate that loan. So they're almost like an extension of the bank. The other part is they will look at who is the best lender to suit you, right? They'll understand your circumstances and then what banks will lend you the money and who's going to be able to then give you the best deal out of those banks that will lend you the money. So again, rather than you going around talking to all these different people trying to work that out yourself, let the
Mm.
experts help you and they'll guide you through that.
Yep, absolutely. So I think what I'll do here is share. I forgot to put this little school thing in. Firstly, this basic budget template, just to show you where that is, guys. If you're in the classroom up here, come across to helpful tools and resources, and then you can come into this resource list here. There they are. So when you click on this, it'll create your own copy. Okay, there's a whole bunch of resources there, but the one we're talking about is here, basic budget. Very, very helpful. So as far as the brokers, we've got a couple that we can help you with. So we've got a few perks in there, which is also in the classroom right here. This perks portal. It's only sort of started, so we've got a couple there for you. First one is Loan Gallery Finance. Second is Toast Finance. Okay, so Loan Gallery, if you use them, you can get a $500 consultation free. So like a financial planning discussion, they'll give you that for free. Or if you go with Toast Finance, you get a $250 Visa card just for doing that. That's great. Now, we get a little kick out of that too for all these perks, just FYI, nothing grand. You will always get better value than what you can buy publicly. Okay, so that's really the goal for us. Um, I just wanted to highlight these two, Darren, because these are the two that we have the most experience with. There are more, but when it comes to finance, firstly, Toast Finance, they're a smaller business. Scott Baker, this guy in the middle here, he's a bit of an expert and a whiz, and his team around him are as well. They will be your best chance at getting your finance in unique and tricky situations. They can get that deal done. Just as much, these guys are a massive business, Loan Gallery, that can do the same. Both have a lot of experience. Loan Gallery have heaps of many years of experience in construction loans and lending. So that's what we really, I guess, want to get across the line here is that don't go with the with the broker or the bank that Uncle Gary recommends. Go with the broker, not the bank. Go with the broker that already knows construction.
That's the key, Colin, is knowing construction. I think the other part, one part with loan galleries, they've got a really diverse range of brokers as well. So if you want to deal with an Indian broker or a Chinese broker, they touch onto all that. So if you give Steve and his team a call, they'll be able to actually connect you with one of their brokers that really aligns with you directly. So,
Yeah,
again, if you want to speak in a foreign language, they'll be able to help you with that sort of stuff. They're fantastic.
yeah, it's good. Yeah, you can see here some options. So
And the other
yeah.
part with Toast is was it were they on TikTok or is it on
Oh yeah.
or
Go
no,
for
they
it. You
got
want to
some,
have a bit of fun? Go and see our mate Scotty, the broker baker. You can enjoy a bit of TikTok. No,
he's got
Instagram
some
actually.
fun stuff on there, so worth having a
Instagram. Yeah, so he's got, he has got. Geez, I'd love to find that actually. It'd be
look.
worth sharing, wouldn't it? But he's done a dance with his children. What was it with that Korean K-pop thing on Netflix? And yeah, it's quite amusing. But does have some helpful advice on there too. So
Absolutely.
just if you do call those guys, just quote the Home Building Hub perk. That'll probably do, just so they know it's come from us. You'll get that deal. But this is not about us plugging them or anything. It's just honestly, these are two businesses that can really look after you
One of the
with
best
with
brokers in the business, mate. That's
yeah,
for
they
damn.
are. We wouldn't do it otherwise. So, finance broker, number one resource, get that sorted up front before you do anything. Number two, this person here, Daz, what's a conveyancer and why do we need them?
They're going to take care of the land transaction for you. So they're going to do all of the legal part of that land transaction and transfer the title over into your name. They're going to check the contract, make sure there's no loopholes that hopefully going to get you in trouble.
Mm,
And they should be advising you on all of that information. And yeah, they'll basically be there. I must say they're a bit like your coach on the way through. They're going to point you in the right direction, the things you need to do. They'll tell you when you need to have your finance approved by. They'll tell you when you need to have your finance ready for settlement. They'll guide you through all that. So they're going to be the person that's really pointing you in the right direction. So when you've got a great conveyancer, you're in really good hands. If you get a crappy one, you'll end up settling late, cost you money, etc. So getting the right conveyance is really the key.
yeah, it is for sure. We do know quite a few conveyancers, but we didn't want to put any on here just because they're probably state-based experts. That
Absolutely.
might vary across states, Darren. So it won't be hard. Just to be honest, I'd ask your building sales consultant, which we'll get to the next step. Two things we love to put in all contracts. Little tips for you. So I'm going to click on these images. So pegs. While I click on these, Daz, what's that mean?
We're talking about the pegs on the corners of your block. So at each point of your block, there should be a peg in the ground, which will illustrate that's the boundary of your block of land. And it's
Yep.
really important to make sure that those pegs are in place when you settle the land. right? So whether you're buying it off a land developer, whether you're buying it as a resale, you want to make sure that the pegs are there. So go out and have a look. You might have to scratch around. You'll see there's two things on that last photo, Colin.
Yeah.
You've got the one with the ribbon tied around it. That's just a guide to where the peg is. It's like, hey, look over here. It's somewhere over here. Then you've got the white one that's on the at ground level, and your next photo will be similar.
Like
You're
that.
looking for that. That is the actual peg that's been put there by a surveyor, a land surveyor, to say that that is the corner of the block of land. Make sure it's in place. You might have to bring a shovel out to dig around to find it. Often they're just under the surface of the ground. So don't think if you can't see it by walking out there, it's not there. Bring a shovel, work out approximately where you think it should be, and then dig around until you find it. Sometimes you won't find it. They've been pulled out, and that's when you want to make sure they've been replaced prior to you settling that land, because otherwise you're going to need to get a re-establishment survey. It's going to cost you anywhere between, I don't know, $800 and $2,000, depending on who, what, where, when
Hmm.
you're using to get that done. Yeah, and so it's just a cost you don't need to bear.
Yep. So that's a little tip. The second one is a massive one, Daz. So let's start with these. So rubbish and overgrown grass, just getting when you settle on your block, you need to put in your contract that whoever owns that block, the vendor agrees that it will be clean and it will be clear of
Yeah,
any rubbish or any overgrown grass. So overgrown grass is one that people tend to ignore. You want to make sure it doesn't look like this because that's like knee height, if not higher. There could be a
yeah.
whole bunch of stuff underneath that that you want to make sure is gone. So
That's
they
not a
need to trim
field of
that.
dreams, Colin. That's not a field of dreams.
No,
That's
it's not.
that's a potential headache underneath all of that.
Yep. So make sure that that is part of your contract. And then the other one here, this is just one of very many that happen. You could buy a block like this.
Yeah,
And this is super common in Victoria in the metro regions where you just got a whole bunch of stuff. Could just be piles of dirt. It could be bits of concrete from the builders next door or building materials, like a lot of this stuff here. Unfortunately, it happens. So when you sign that land contract, your conveyancer's responsibility is to protect you and be your legal representative of your land contract. So two of the points that you should ask them to put in: pegs, make sure they're in, and rubbish or overgrown grass, make sure it's all clean and clear. A couple of good tips for you as part of your second member of your team.
if you're the clown dumping that rubbish, if you haven't heard, certainly in Victoria, the government's ramped up the fines that are available on that now, and it is massive. So I hope you get caught because it's a disgrace what happens.
Yeah,
So we'd love to see that ceased as soon as possible. Take it to the tip, take it to a recycling place, get rid of it. It's just poor form. You're just shifting your problem to somebody else.
yeah,
Do the right thing. So that's
yeah.
all we
This
ask.
this is a 5 to 8 grand clean up. To do it properly, clean it all up and scrape the site ready for construction, it'll cost you that much.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's certainly one you ought to be mindful of. So it's a good tip we can share. The last one here, part of your team, which you can't get on day one, you will need to go out there. You will need to inquire and get a feel for what you're looking at. And we've got plenty of other, I guess, podcast episodes and plenty of other content that describe the best way to go about this because it's quite confusing with display homes and websites and inclusions and all that sort of stuff. So one of the things we've got some resources too about needs versus wants and all that sort of stuff as well, Darren. But in principle, once you've got your budget and your broker and your conveyancer in place, now you're ready to sort of get out there and talk and find that person, find that builder that you feel most aligned to. They've got the plan, they've got the inclusions, the quotes looking good, but probably those other factors that matter most are like it feels like it's the right one for you.
For sure.
That's so important. So your builder sales consultant is really crucial because I mean they can actually introduce you to finance broker and conveyancer if you don't know of any yourself. If you want to do display shopping first and just get a feel for it, totally fine, and you might get some good contacts out of that. But they're the ones who will be able to provide you with a detailed quote, or the one who will provide you with a very minimal detailed quote and or a basic quote, and not explain things and not educate you, and that'll tell you that's not a consultant for you. maybe a builder that you love, but it may not be the right consultant for you. So you want to go and qualify, and you want to deal with someone who's really, really good. Yeah.
I think on that note too, Colin, you know, building consultants will ask for your name and number. And I'm a sales manager for one of the builders. I encourage that. I want my team to get your name and number so that they can register you in our system and that we can contact you and really do everything we can do to really help you through the building journey. That being said, with most builders, that will tie you to that particular consultant. So if you're a bit uncomfortable with that person, don't leave your name and number.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. Just go, no, don't think it's quite the right person for me. Just say, look, I'm okay at this point. And we don't. It's weird being a builder, discouraging leaving details, but I guess we're just trying to be open with you about making sure that that connection, you get the right vibe when you're dealing with that building consultant. If not, don't leave your details there. Talk to another one of theirs until you get the one that you feel that if you really like that house, find the person that you really want to be able to work with, that
Mm.
you're comfortable with to work through that journey moving ahead.
Sometimes it can just be too early, Darren.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
we sat at the desk selling houses for a long time. We know what it's like when people walk through the door and they're like, "Oh, I'm just looking." Like, in other words, I don't want to talk to anyone yet. I'm not ready. Like, just, you don't have to leave your details. Just go through and have a cruise through, and start getting a feel for what designs you like and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, as we said at the top, whatever order suits you, you will need to do these three things, or these two things with these three people. Okay, so you want to make sure you get those people in place, but it can be, broker first, it can be consultant first, whatever it is, to get a guide, and really ultimately to get you on that budgeting basics tool, and you can start putting those items in there. That's really, really helpful.
For sure.
Some other roles here, Daz, we listed were just so people know, I suppose. So obviously, where you buy the land from could be the land estate where the developers there. Could be realestate.com, could be Facebook Marketplace through just John Smith who's selling his block, etc. Just be careful when you do buy through a land estate. It's the safest way to buy because it's a little more formal, and they've got a land office there, and they've got all the goodies and everything they understand, all the documentation associated with it. When you buy from a real estate agent or from a person directly, you probably got to just do a bit more homework. Make sure you understand what the guidelines are, and the restrictions are, and things like that, and that you're buying a block that you understand. And once again, as we always say, the best person to review that for you is your consultant that you've now found and trust. And that there might be three. You're going through the process with three builders, with three consultants. That's okay, but just make sure that they review this stuff. Your builder itself, themselves, are obviously important, key role. Building surveyor is another one, Darren, that um, we think is worth highlighting. What do you want to share who they are and what they do?
Yeah, so the building surveyor, and for the most part, will be appointed by your builder, or in collaboration with yourself. So you don't have to use theirs, but most people tend to. They're there to make sure that your home is built uh, to a compliant level. So making sure that it's built to the regulations that are in place. So they'll go and check, at multiple stages throughout the build, particularly the frame, the slab pre pour and post pour, and also at completion. But they'll be looking to make sure that the builder's done exactly what's on the engineering designs throughout those, and making sure that the house is compliant with the regulations. So yeah,
Mm.
they're there to check on that for you on your behalf.
And I'll probably say there, versus private inspector.
Yep.
So they are keeping the builder accountable. The builder cannot get a permit without a surveyor signing it off, right? They can't proceed to the next stage without it ticked off. Private inspector is someone that you can hire to review each stage or one of the stages, um, and that you pay for them to do that review. And they may come back with a 50-page document. Half of those pages are photos, and the other half are information around, here's what's not compliant, here's two or three items I need you to rectify, and here are some other cosmetic things that I think you should look at. And the builder will then review those items and say, okay, we'll address item 1, item 6, and item 12, and that's what we'll do, because they need to build it compliantly. They don't have to agree to every single cosmetic, I suppose, recommendation by your private inspector. So it's probably important to highlight the difference. Anything else on that one, do you reckon, Daz?
Yeah, they're looking more often at cosmetic items as well as some of the building standards as well. But the building surveyor is the guy who's going to sign off that house and basically say yes, you can start building it, and yes, it's now fit for occupancy. So
Yeah, both very crucial and very important. Yeah, so by all means, go and get yourself a private inspector. Every builder is very used to dealing with them, so and they're there to support you, uh, the home buyer, which is really important. And just bringing those pieces together, we sort of have covered, I guess, the finance broker. They obviously set the tone for your budget. It's really important. We like to share that you should have a minimum and a maximum, and that's what you're giving to your consultant up here. You say, look, my budget is 700 to 750. Like the 750, I can't go a dollar over. The 700 is where I sort of would prefer. And then the consultant, it gives them a bit of a range to say, okay, great, I can get you a 4 bedroom, 20 square home for the 700. But if you get to 750, I can actually get you a 22 square home, whatever it may be. So then they can give you two options to consider. You can go back to your broker, and that's why this whole thing is a bit of a cycle, like you've got to go back to your broker about this and then back to your consultant and then back to the land person to make sure that the right house on the right block and the right block for the right house, that it's a process. You can't just go and buy a block of land. Don't do that. You can't just go and buy a house. You can't do that, right? So it takes a team effort for sure.
next one's a conveyancer, Cole.
Yeah, which we've sort of covered, I guess. But yeah, just working together with when you do find that block of land, your consultant helps you do that, or you find your own. Make sure the conveyancer checks that, puts in these recommendations that we have put forward. Um, and then the other thing is when you find a block of land, let's get yourself some understanding on these things here. So the estate guidelines that are in place. So maybe, Daz, you want to talk through that? I might just go and find a quick example.
Yeah, for sure. So, what you'll find there is that a lot of the developments require you to have certain color aspects, certain design aspects that you need to meet. They'll also talk about things like how far the house needs to be from the street. There may be other bits and pieces they touch on, things like water tanks may be required or some environmental things. They'll often talk about what plants can and can't be planted in the garden. Could also be even as far as things like whether you can have caravans and boats visible from the street, how high sheds are, etc. So all those things will be touched on. Here's an example right here. They can be a few pages long, or they can be up to 100 pages long, depending on the detail that's in there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
nine
that
pager.
one's 9 pages, nice short, sharp
Where's
one.
this one? Harlow in Bendigo. So yeah, you'll see here design guidelines, the approval process, and here we go. So let's see if I can find a zoom in button somewhere, Darren, on the right here. Set of guidelines. So what are we looking for here? Front
That's
setback,
it. Front setback, it's 4 meters. It says just there, unless
four
otherwise approved.
meters. Yep.
Right. You've got side and rear setbacks. It will talk to you about all sorts of bits and pieces throughout.
Minimum 1 metre setback must be provided for all lots, 10.5 width or greater, etc. So these are the rules and the things that we have to consider when we're doing a quote for you. Okay, so all the setbacks are important. Um, articulation, what happens on corner lots, the type of roofing, heights. You can't have the same facade like within X number of sort of lots, for example. And then they've even got materials and colours, what you can do, what you can't do. It's all sort of there, which is quite helpful, design guidelines. So it's there. Why is it there? Darren, what's the
It's
point?
there to protect the consumer, to make sure that your house, is of a certain standard, and to make sure that your neighbours is likewise the same. So,
Yeah,
it really sets the tone for what the estate's going to look like.
yeah, it does. Even fencing and passive design, energy efficiency, it's all there. And some of the guides have this like helpful checklist, so you know that the quote that you're getting from the consultant, you want to make sure that they've gone through all this and they've accounted for it all. Okay, so that's pretty helpful, I think. Yeah.
Now, lucky
And
last, mate.
surveyors, we sort of covered already, what they are and what they're for. So yeah, hopefully that helps. That sort of wraps up this webinar. I think if you're starting the process, it should give you some really good tips and guidance and insights on where to begin and who to use and who to find, and that it's not just one and then the next. You've got to do it all in combination, I'd say. Anything else to add to the end there, Daz?
No, mate, I think we've covered it nicely. Make sure you get your team right.
Done. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next webinar. Bye bye.
Cheers.